Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm gonna have another video featuring Nelda. Yes, we are in the same outfits.
Sure.
Because it's the same day.
Sure is.
But we wanted to do a video just basically discussing COVID a little bit and what it's like being a healthcare professional. I am a nurse and Nelda's a teacher.
Yes.
So
fifth grade, by the way, fifth grade teacher.
Fifth grade teacher. And we just kind of wanted to talk about like life with the quarantine, how it's affected us. And like, you know, I do work in the field and I am front lines to this. So I just kind of wanted to share with you guys like how I felt. And I know a lot of you have reached out to me on Instagram to check on me. I wanted to say thank you so very much because it's really appreciated, especially in a time like this. I feel really grateful to have you guys. Like, you guys don't even know me. Mm-hmm. You guys just know me via makeup, and I feel like it's really nice when you guys reach out to me. Like, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're safe out there. Like, we are spread out across the world, and this is a worldwide thing. This is not just an America thing. So I really feel like it's hitting everybody, and it's just gotten very real. So we wanted to kind of like be serious and kind of just have a discussion about it.
As serious as I can be, that's very difficult for me. I just want you to know. So y'all know. Warning.
So like, I wanted to talk about it first from like my standpoint because a lot of you have reached out to me, like I said. And I definitely have to say being a healthcare worker has been very difficult the last couple weeks. I feel like every day that I go to my job, I'm super happy. I love what I do. I love my patients. Like, I really feel like I found the career that best suits me and it makes me happy. Mm-hmm. I don't just do it for like material gains or for money. So when I first became a nurse, and I've been a nurse for almost 7 years now, you never think about things like this. Like, back in the day, there was like malaria, like Spanish influenza, and like you heard about these things, but they have a vaccination. We're good. Like, as long as people are getting their vaccinations, we haven't had to deal with that outbreak on a global scale. Like, if anything pops up, it's like very minor. Like, oh, yeah. And it's like very like contained. We know about it. We're prepared for it. Whereas with the coronavirus, I feel like it's just been like super like 0 to 100. It spread really quickly. I think the biggest fear for me as a healthcare worker is that there are people who are asymptomatic out there who carry this virus and they're spreading it because they're not getting the fever, they're not getting the shortness of breath, they're not getting the telltale signs of being a coronavirus carrier. So those people are the things that really scare me because I walk around every day with all these people. Like, everybody's in quarantine in their home, but I'm walking around constantly, and like the facility I work at is huge. It's one of the biggest facilities. We're a teaching hospital. We just have people everywhere. And I feel like that's been the scary part because like we just come in close contact with so many people that we don't really know who has the virus and who doesn't. There's no way of telling unless you get the actual test. So I think that's been a fear of mine, is just because you just really never know. And that really hit home last week. And this is a little difficult, but one of my coworkers did pass away. She was our like team leader and she was really great, and she did die because of COVID, and it was really like a huge shock. I mean, we were here in the house, I was off that day, and I got a phone call, and I literally thought it was a joke because it was crazy. I literally worked with her over the weekend, and on Tuesday she didn't feel well, but she was still like walking around, and if you know my coworker, she was always busy, she was always on the go, and she didn't feel well, and you could tell, but she was still like doing everything she needed to do. And I saw her Tuesday and she passed away Friday morning. So I was just like, holy shit, like that was 3 days and it took her out. And she is a powerhouse. She is strong. So it was just really like, it just took me by shock, and it was just like super sad because it's just like, you know, something like this took her out. Like so it was just like really hard for me. And then like, you know, like every day I come home, I'm like super, super particular with how I clean myself before entering our home, and I go through like all the precautions. I Lysol wipe my shoes before I even like bring them into the car, and I put them in a shoe box. I sit down in my work clothes. When I come out the car and get home, I Lysol my seats, Lysol my steering wheel, Lysol like the whole side of my car with wipes, and wiping down like my door handle. And then when I get into the house, like I continue to clean my like other pair of shoes that I wear in the car. I clean my cell phone. I take off all my clothes in the garage. I discard them there and just let them sit in there. And I literally like come into the house pretty much naked. And I like run. I'm like, hey Nelda, and like run upstairs and like wash my hands and stuff. But I definitely feel like it's just been a huge change in lifestyle for me. And like we're wearing masks, and like I've been really fortunate in the facility where I work that like my boss is so great, and she really fights hard for us to have the materials we need, and it hasn't really affected us as of yet, even though I know there's going to be a point where it's going to be difficult and we're not going to have the resources we may need as available, but we are making it work for right now. And I feel very supported in my unit, and I feel really happy. If I had to go through this, like I'm going through it with my boss and I'm going through it with my coworkers, because we're all just really like holding each other up right now, and you know, keeping each other uplifted. So I feel like that's been really great as well. So like I also want to bring Nelda in on this video because we do live together, and being a healthcare worker, I'm exposing her all the time.
Every day.
Every single day.
I had to update my living will.
Okay. So like literally like everybody's like, oh my god, how do you do with the roommate? Especially when my coworker had COVID, I had to actually go get tested.
Mm-hmm.
And I like felt so sad because I was like, shit, I would hate to bring that home to Nelda, even though I had no symptoms, like, and expose her to it. So I just wanted her to come on here and just talk about like living with someone in the field and how she's dealing with it, because I know all over the world, like doctors are living in tents in their garages, or they're like living in separate bedrooms, which we do. But like it's just been like a huge like lifestyle.
We don't sleep together, just so y'all know.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So like yeah, I just want her to like share her like
so like Sam and I went to college together. That's how we met. So we were both actually both of our majors were nursing. Some of us made it, some of us didn't. Chemistry happened, and I was just like, this ain't for me. So I decided to become a teacher, and I love my job and I love my babies. It's great. But you know, for those of us like Sam who like puts her life on the line, for me, you know, living with her, she was the first one who already like wanted to take all the extra precautions of like getting naked in the garage and wiping herself down and doing all the things that she's been doing. And also she's OCD, so she like cleans 45 times a day. She does everything like that anyway. So I just honestly wasn't worried in that sense, and then her taking those extra precautions probably made me feel a little bit more comfortable. I honestly wasn't. That's just my personality in general. I feel like what's gonna happen is gonna happen, to be honest. I think when her coworker passed away, that was very shocking, and it was definitely like a wake-up call. We had already been like, you know, staying at home. Like I hadn't been to work since before our own spring break, and in Florida we had a spring break like weeks ago. So I honestly had not been out since then. But once her coworker passed away and I was there when she got the call, it really got real. Just because like her parents live near us and they see each other all the time. My mom lives near me and I see her all the time too. So we didn't want to like bring it, because we knew we would be okay if anything happened, to be honest, hopefully. But we do know that like we didn't want it to go to our parents, and both of our parents are in their 60s, and that's like the age that things are happening. And we also have other friends who live with parents and things like that, and if they came over and hung out with us, like we just knew we didn't want to be like carriers for other people. So when her coworker passed away, it was a big wake-up call. And you know, she got tested, which I was very grateful for. Like she was able to do that through her facility, because I knew if she had it, then I would probably have it too, because we live together. Luckily, we're all negative over here, which is great. But I think this whole situation has just been like a big wake-up call for a lot of things, like our healthcare system in the country, our education system in the country, our system in the country. Like everything has just been like a wake-up call, and I'm just hoping that all, as terrible as this has been, and probably will be a little bit longer, that a lot of changes can be made to a lot of these systems and a lot of these things, because now we're seeing how internet should probably be free for everyone because we need it for school and things like that. Or healthcare workers should get hazard pay for when things like this happen. Or we should have a pandemic team if something like this will happen again with the White House. Like, there's so many things that I feel like we are now like realizing we need to work on as a country, and I'm hoping that that definitely happens sooner than later.
Yeah, and I'm not like really a political person. Like, I really don't keep up with politics. Like, it's just not a strong suit for me, even though it should be. Like, I'm trying to be more aware and more woke. Nelda definitely takes that for me. Like,
I don't like the word woke, but
I said it in parentheses.
Yes.
But like, I definitely like, I feel like Nelda helps me out with that because she'll like turn me on to a lot of current events, and she'll show me like articles and like whatever. She keeps me like really present with that kind of stuff. But I definitely do think, as someone who has no political background, that this has definitely been like a huge wake up call for everyone. And like, you know, it's like we are the people who make the difference in this kind of situation. Like, we have to push for these things and like, you know, really like try and make our voices be heard. And I feel like being in the time frame that we're in, like back in the day when people had these influenzas and stuff like that, they didn't have social media.
Yeah.
So they had no way of like sharing with people like, hey, be careful, try this, do this. And I think that that's like the curse and the beauty of 2020 is social media, is that we have a stance and we can make it known to large crowds of people at the touch of our fingertips. We have iPhones, like you can literally have any kind of device. You can be in Best Buy and take a video and upload it. Like, you know, I feel like there's just so many outlets, and I think that's the great thing. So I definitely feel like this is a time to be heard. I think also in this, on a totally different topic, is that like this has really taught me to be grateful. Like, we always joke, and I think it's just something everybody jokes about, you know, especially as an American, first world problems. Like, we have really experienced first world problems. Like, and I'm just like, sheesh, like my nails, like as stupid as it is, like
it's not, because nails are important.
Nails are important, but they are stupid in the grand scheme of life. Like, you know, like it's like I'm like over here freaking out about my nails. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. Or like, we can get our hair done and we can't do all of these like things that we've been so privileged to have. And I feel like it's definitely a humbling point for me. And I know you said the same thing as well. Like, and it's definitely also like a huge wake up call to be like appreciative for all of these great things I have in my life, and not take them for granted, and not like ever forget that this is a privilege. Like, you're not just having this just to have it. Like, this is something that like you're fortunate enough to have at your fingertips and be able to do and be able to afford. And then in addition to that, like just human interaction, I feel like that's also something we took for granted, because
for sure,
I think back in the day, like by choice, people were inside. Like, we were inside on our phones, playing video games, doing all these things. And like with the quarantine, I've seen people in my neighborhood I've never seen before.
We have seen some fine. Maybe somebody's daddy, I don't know.
Uncle, cousin, brother, somebody.
But they're out here in these streets, honey, and
riding bikes, walking,
doing God's work, to be honest. And no, it's been great to see that, obviously, but also seeing just like families. Like, we've seen so many families like bike riding together and like walking together. Even us, like, we're taking walks together all the time with the dogs, and like, you know, spending that time. And it's just like, these are things we could have always done, but we did it. And even like working out together, like Sam has her own gym membership, I did too, we can't go, so we've been working out with YouTube videos together. And like, there's so many things that you could have done to like really engage with people, and you didn't before, and now you are doing it. And even like, you know, I'm kind of a hugger, she's a hugger too, so like now you can't really do that to people. When you see them, you have to like 6 feet away and things like that. But I promise you, the moment it's gonna feel safe to hug anymore, like, everyone's to get touched up by me. Everybody getting felt up.
And I feel like that has been literally the hardest part of this quarantine. Like, that is like the most emotional I felt, between like the death of my coworker and like my parents. Like, you know, like I work in this field, and you know, like, yeah, I'm front lines, and it's not even so much about me being like, I don't want to risk my life, obviously, like I don't want to die, but like I don't want my parents to die because of me either.
Yeah.
Like, my parents are 69 years old. They're elderly. Like, they don't look like it. They don't act like it, but they technically are. And, like, my parents and I are very close. We're very close-knit. I have a very close-knit family. And I miss my family so much. Like, I miss my family. Like, words can't even describe how much I miss them because, like, I talk to them every day, but it's just so different when you can't, like, touch them, see them. Like, my dad comes over here all the time. Like, he pops up. Not seeing my parents, like, my dad comes over all the time. My mom comes over all the time. And, like, my parents have been, like, super supportive and great through this process. Like, my mom will literally, like, cook for me and leave the food at the front door because she can't come in my house. And, like, or I'll go to her house and, like, pick up food that she's cooked for me. But I think the hardest part was, like, one time I was bringing them, like, food or something like that because I, like, refused to have them out here. And I had to, like, talk to my mom through the glass door, and, like, that shit really hurt. Like, it really, I came home and I was, like, I felt, like, very emotional because it's, like, weird to, like, sit there and talk to my mom through a glass and being like, hey, Mom, like,
yeah.
You know?
And even on a funnier note, my mom is more dramatic than I am. And she literally, I brought her, like, water a couple weeks ago, and she had me, like, leave it at the front. But she literally, like, sprayed me down with her, like, alcohol substance and gave me, like, 75 ounces of sanitizer just to even, like, be in her vicinity and stuff. Just, you know, and I was joking and laughing about it, but I was very happy that she was taking it really seriously because obviously I don't want, like, something to happen to my mom. Just because of something crazy like this, and my mom's been through, like, a lot of her own things, so I wouldn't want something like this to take her out, like, you know. So it's been real. Yeah. It really has been real. I definitely think there are a lot of things that we are grateful for, and I think this is gonna forever change us. Like, I really do. Just like 9/11 changed the way we go through airports, a lot of the way, well, I was going to say the way school shootings changed the way we do school, but here we are. But this, in general, I definitely think this is going to change the way we, like, move from now on. And I hope it's a good change for the betterment. Like, we've already talked about a lot of things that we're going to start doing differently, even after all of this is done. So I hope that other people do the same. And what are some other things that you would do differently, starting even after COVID-19 is done?
So I'm already close with my family and I spend a lot of time with them, but obviously, like, I would like to spend a lot more time with them because, I mean, like, I think in this, it's a common expression, like, life is short. You never know when something's going to happen, but, like, really hold on to those moments and try to, like, make more of them, you know? And my friends that I have been, like, friends, like Nelda, for, like, 15 years, 10 years. And, like, it's really crazy how people kind of come out the woodwork to check on you, and I'm appreciative for that. And, like, maybe there's some people in my life that I'm not as close to, but I should be closer to, or maybe keep in better touch with. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like I should make more of an effort because that's something, like, that I struggle with. Because, like, if you're intermediate for me, my intermediate family or my intermediate group of friends, like, I'll talk to you and I'll keep up with you, but I'm not, like, one of those people who are, like, always on the phone with you, like, if you're not my family. But, like, I feel like it's pushed me to be like, I need to check on this person a little bit more. Like, maybe call them once a week. Like, what is once a week, you know? Or, you know, FaceTime with that person once a week. Or, like, just check on that person to see how they're doing and how, like, life is. And also, like, another thing is I think I have really taken the time to appreciate my profession because I know there's so many people out there who do not have jobs and don't have an income. And I feel like that's really, really rough. And, you know, I'm a homeowner. I have bills of my own. I have a car payment. Like, I have normal bills. And to be able to still afford my home and things like that, like, I feel extremely grateful for because I know people are really struggling with, like, food and, like, where are they going to get the payment for their rent? And they have kids. And I really feel for those people. So I think it's definitely taught me, like, an appreciative note about life and just to really not take any of these things for granted because sometimes I feel like we're just entitled to these things. Yeah. And we feel like we deserve them when in fact we really don't. Yeah. It's just been a blessing in our life. So.
And a privilege, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I think for me, a lot of the same things, like I have a big extended family, so a lot of times it's been difficult for me in the past to like really keep up with like uncles and aunts and cousins because it's just like, it's so many of y'all. Like, It's exhausting. But obviously with me being home so much lately, like I've actually had a chance to like call an aunt up. I'll call my cousin or call little cousins and things like that and like really keep up, when before I always had the excuse of like, oh, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And like now it's just like become a priority for me to make sure I really keep up with people, like Sam said, who I maybe don't talk to every day and they're not in a group chat per se. So to keep up with that. I think also like the amount of money that we spend on kind of frivolous things. I mean, I'm still out here on Amazon and Adidas and Nike buying all the lounge clothes, honey, because I didn't have any. So I'm definitely out here, but like, you know, I spend a lot of money on food personally, like out, like eating out and doing all those things and like having to kind of like not be able to, you know, you can still do delivery as we know, but like I haven't been eating out as much because I've had the time to cook things. So maybe like I've gotten into like baking. Honestly, I made cookies last week, which I'm doing another batch soon. So I'll let y'all know.
They weren't bad. They're definitely edible.
Yes. But yeah, so like I'm getting into baking and I never thought I would get into that. And like all these other hobbies that I used to do all the time, but kind of left them in the wayside, and I'm bringing them back up. And I think also just like simple things of, we don't need to go to brunch every time to hang out. We don't need to go to a restaurant or go to this club or go to this party. We can literally just be like, hey, let's take a walk around the block. Let's go to the park. Let's ride our bikes. Let's do this YouTube video thing. So I think there's just a lot more ways that we can actually take advantage of spending time with each other and like building community with each other. That's another like big thing, is like seeing a lot of people really check on each other and then not even just be family.
Yeah.
So even just having like neighbors, like we've talked to our neighbors more in the last week than we probably have in like months. Mm-hmm. Or we've talked to, you know, like the person down the street. Like if I see an older person, I'm always like the first to get off the sidewalk because they're the ones that are like more susceptible to things. The fact that stores are like opening up for the first hour for the elderly instead of, you know, like respecting those things and just like being more community oriented and humane rather than being like so selfish and self-centered, or like, oh, it's about like even us deciding to stay home. This is not an American thing to do. We are more individualistic, but knowing that like it's for the good of everyone, like that's really amazing to see for sure.
Yeah. And I definitely like, I don't know, like for me too, it's just like sometimes like you go through situations in life and you're like spaced apart from people. But then it's so nice to see. I know for me personally, like my ex got me so much food and groceries. And like when I'm talking about like $250 worth of groceries, like paper products, like
shout out to you, homie. You know who you are. I feel it. I'm full.
But like we've never had a problem, but that's something he didn't have to do. But he went above and beyond for me. And I'm like super grateful for that. And I feel like that's just something that's just becoming staple right now. And I hope we don't lose that, because it's just like a crisis moment right now, and that's why everybody's doing this. Like that's something I think we should be able to hold on to, and I'm hoping that as Americans we hold on to, and we really look out for one another. Because in my job, even like we're having like people like deliver like food to us. Like it's so nice to be appreciated. Like nurses always bust their asses, and I feel like we're one of the professions, like if you've gone through a situation and you've had a family member who's been hospitalized or something like that, then you can appreciate a nurse. But I feel like all in all, like we were never really as appreciated, I feel like, as we should be.
Yeah.
But like for me, that was never like a thing. But like in this, it's so nice to finally be recognized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope like this is something that people always remember, because we are taking care of these patients for 12 hours. We are there for 12 hours dealing with these people, dealing with the families, and like we don't have any visitors right now in the hospital, and it's been so crazy because like we're doing our nursing thing and we're taking care of people, but we're also having to call the family, try FaceTime them. Like, you know, we're just doing a lot right now, and it's just like really cool to be like appreciated and have like people be like, here, you guys deserve a meal. Like we had like House of Mac, which is like epic around South Florida, and they delivered like loads and loads of macaronis and cheese to healthcare professionals. I say macaronis and cheese. I know that's
and
wrong.
I die every time.
Every time. Like Five Guys brought us food. Like it's just been,
Starbucks give you guys coffee.
Yeah, Starbucks brought us coffee. Like it's just been so great to feel appreciated. And like this is not a platform for me. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just so nice that someone like really respects us and like takes the time, and like doctors too. Like people in the grocery store. Like literally I was at Publix the other day, and the guy was like stocking the shelves, and I was like, I just really want to say like thank you, and he looked at me like, the hell are you thanking me for? And I'm like no, but like without you here, we wouldn't be able to get this food.
Yeah.
Or like you're also risking your lives, because I think a little bit more sometimes than healthcare workers, because we're provided PPE.
Yeah, like no one goes to Publix with full gloves and masks.
No, like, no one's going to Publix. Like none of the employees are allowed to wear masks, which I think is like a huge thing that I don't know like how to go about like sharing that needs to be something like that needs to be staple right now. But like Publix is really, really, really like trying their employees, because they're out here more susceptible than me. And I work in the field at front lines, so I really feel like that's something that needs to be, a light needs to be shined on. And like I respect those people for like putting their life on the line to help me out. And you know, I'm sure people who are Publix employees stocking shelves are not making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're being overworked. And like I just definitely feel like they need to be compensated on a human aspect, on a financial aspect, on a like just so many different aspects. And we need to look out for their lives too, because as much as I'm in the front line is as much as they're in the front line, because they're doing a lot for us as well.
I've just been seeing a lot lately online of like people saying, because I know there was a big conversation maybe like last year about minimum wage going up to $15 an hour, and a lot of people who are against it were just like, well, why should you get paid $15 an hour if you stock shelves or you
Flip burgers,
you get, but baby, who's feeding you still?
The camera's up there, Nelda.
Okay. Who's feeding you still? Who's making sure you got bread and toast and avocado and making your avocado toast at the house? Who's making sure you still have toilet paper to wipe your ass? The people that you didn't want to pay $15 an hour to. Those are the ones.
So I feel like a lot of this has been perspective on a global scale about like so many different things and so many different changes. And it's unfortunate that it had to be something like life-threatening in order for us to be aware. But also, I think this is our time to like really make changes. And
and I think on a positive note, like when this is over, I've already said it, I'm going to be out here titties first. What that means is that all of the things that I used to say no to, I'm probably going to do, because you literally never know. And I feel like we've been hearing, even before the pandemic, we've always like heard these carpe diem, YOLO, all of that great stuff. And I just feel like now it's even more like important because we've had this experience. And I feel like there's so many trips that I was just like, oh, I'll pass, like, oh, we'll see. And like, no, just be out here titties out, like live your best life, because you never know. And even if you made it through and you didn't like get affected like personally or whatever, you just never know. And at the end of the day, you want to live a life that you're proud of and not a life of like, I just worked.
So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like for us, like a huge coping mechanism has been definitely drinking.
Yes.
We have been drinking so much. Like I'm not even like upset about it, because
no, I'm not either.
I feel like we just like to, we're not like alcoholics.
I don't know if I am. I just know that.
But we've definitely been like, I mean like sometimes I remember last week after everything happened with my boss, like I was super anxious. Like I was going to work and I was feeling like actually scared, and I was nervous and I was like freaking out a little bit, like internally, like, you know. And I feel like that's sometimes the worst, because you just like, I'm like one of those people who just bottle things up. Like when everything happened, like I was just like very stoic. I feel like I was just like, and she's like, are you okay? Like, and I'm just like, I'm fine. Like, and I remember I was like folding laundry, just like crying to myself, like, you know,
yo. Because I'm over here washing the dishes and all I hear is sniffle, sniffle. And I'm just like, this is awkward. I want you to cry, but you don't like to cry. So I'm going to just let you have your space. So
and that's like the type of person I am. Like when things happen, like I just like kind of like go into a shell and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to like, I'm not good with feelings. Like it's just definitely a struggle of mine that I'm very aware of and trying to work on, but it's hard. But I mean, I feel like this has been like really crazy because, you know, we're just like out here like can you put a bottle of champagne in the fridge? Can we go get another bottle of Tito's?
Can we get more wine? Can we get
more cheese? Like, can we do a charcuterie night? Like,
can we do shots? Can we do this? No, and I feel like that's a big thing is like, and that's another thing is like how mental health has been so important during this whole thing of like, you know, my therapist reached out to me and was like, girl, if you need a session, let me know. And I'm really going to take her up on it because dealing with all of this has been really challenging. And, you know, like I said earlier, I'm an extrovert, so I'm on a different layer for me, like not having the interaction of people. Like I'm glad I live with Sam and I get to see her at least every day, but not being able to talk to people. I'm a teacher. I'm obviously like really, you know, extra. So I enjoy that throughout my day of like talking to people and joking and having fun and doing those things. And I'm not able to do that. So it feels like a part of my personality is like on restraint, to be honest. And I feel like mental health, like I love that therapists are out here using the Skype, using the Zoom, using the Google Hangouts. And I think that you should not feel ashamed to like really need that, even if like, you know, I'm glad, like we said, we're grateful that we still have work and have like a paycheck and have access to things and privileges, but like it's also important to like take care of your mental health during this time. So especially if you've been worried about family and worried about yourself or if you have kids at home and you're like out here homeschooling, ooh girl, good luck. You really might need that like reprieve in that mental health moment.
And like also like Nelda brought it to my attention today, and it's like something to definitely like send a prayer out or like whatever you believe, or if you know someone who needs help, like definitely support them. But she was saying that people who are addicts are having a really hard time right now, and that's like huge for me because the facility I work at is like a safe haven for anybody, and we do get a lot of addicts and, you know, homeless people and stuff like that. And these are people who literally rely on these meetings. So like if you know someone who's like struggling, like please check up on them. Like I'm hoping they're doing like virtual meetings or like whatever, like just like try to encourage people and like just, you know, like that person you haven't spoke to in like a year or two, like reach out, just FaceTime them, be like, hey, do a ghost FaceTime. Like this is the only time when ghost FaceTimes are all right.
Anytime my phone rings, I'm answering it. I'm not putting no one on the side anymore because you never know. And I feel like that's so like definitely talking to people. I've had a lot of happy hour hangouts, Google Hangouts with people.
We had a spelling bee.
We had a spelling bee with a friend of ours because I am a master speller.
And so I'm the world's worst speller. Like terrible. Like I can't spell anything to save my life. Like people always tell me, like, thank God spelling doesn't require you to be a good nurse.
Thank God.
I would struggle so hard.
And you know, like some of the questions that we were asking in the video, like, you know, just little things like that to like really pass the time and get to know each other well. Reading, if that's what you're into. I personally, you know, it's fine. We've been playing a lot of video games. Honestly, that's been really fun. And together, she got a Cricut recently, so she's been doing a lot of like DIY stuff. Yeah, and like getting into cooking. Like there's so many things you can do, and you can also choose to like not do anything. Like there's no pressure of like you need to be out here on your second hustle or trying to build your empire. You can also just chill. It's okay,
and that's totally okay too. But like once again, like social distancing, like I cannot stress that enough because there's people like myself and like other people who just like really want to be able to like see their family again. I like posted on Instagram, like I was like so real. I was like, I can't wait to hug my mom. Like I literally cannot wait. Like the first like sign of this being like kind of behind us, because I think this is going to be an ongoing issue for a little bit, but I cannot wait to hug my parents and I can't wait to like see them and like spend time with them and like have a Sunday barbecue with them because that's something like we like to do in our family. So it's just like definitely like huge right now, like to just really like pay attention. Like I don't think it's unfair to be like hang out with one or two people, like, you know, like, but like to sit here and have like groups of like 10 or more, like I feel like that's just
people
so
having
unfair.
parties and acting like everything is fine, and like people doing terrible things in the grocery stores to foods and stuff. Like there's a special place in hell for you, I just want you to know. But just like really take the precautions, and I just feel like
wash your hands, people. Wash your hands.
Even at your house, wash your hands. Wipe down your doors. Wipe down your handles. Wipe down the light switches. Counters. Lysol, Clorox wipes. I know they're hard to find. You can do things with bleach. You can do things with a lot of different things.
Alcohol.
Thank you.
So, like, the one thing I have learned about this virus, and, this is just something for a little tidbit of information. I probably should have included this a little bit earlier in the video because we've been talking forever. But it does live on surfaces for up to 3 days. So that's something to definitely be cognizant of. So, like, here at our house, we wipe the surfaces daily, multiple times a day. Like, we're constantly cleaning, like, the door handles, stuff like that. In addition to that, like, our floors, we're cleaning them every couple days. Like, we're just literally, like, taking all the steps.
When we get packages, we leave them out for at least 24 hours before we open them up. If you really want something or something is kind of expensive and you're afraid, we'll use gloves to open it up and make sure, like, the package doesn't really come in the house.
And wipe down and stuff like that. But it does live on paper for 24 hours. So also don't, like, you should be a little concerned because so many people are handling packages, money, things like that. So just little cognizant things to be aware of and, whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave comments down below. Like, if you want to see more of Nelda, if you like her, maybe I'll include her a little bit more.
You know you do. You better like and subscribe right there. That's what you better do. Like and subscribe right there. And let them people know. Quarantines 2020. Amen.
And she's not even a Jamaican.
I'm not. But
she's a Haitian. I'm the Jamaican. I'm not even.
I'm a Zoe, but stop passing.
Okay, here we are. You give a little screen time to somebody. A little screen time.
Don't know how to act. I sure don't.
So I will see you guys soon. Stay safe out there, and we love you.
Like and subscribe below. I always want to do that. Like and subscribe below. Below.
And if you guys find out any great workout videos, like, let us know.
Yes, with resistance bands.
Preferably with resistance bands because I have bad knees. So something low impact would be great. So if you find anything great, let us know. Put it down below. And, feel free to leave anything down that you want us to talk about, you want us to share with you, or just, like, I don't know, just anything you want to share. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.